Presidents eat too, just like you. And what they ate tells us a lot about who they were, where they lived, and how American food culture has evolved. Some had simple tastes, while others ate gourmet foods. Some enjoyed everyday foods we can all relate to, while others craved some very exotic foods. So let's take a trip down memory lane and see what some of America's presidents liked to eat. George Washington. Hoe cakes. George Washington, the first president of America, was a creature of habit, and that included the dinner table. One of his staples? Hoe cakes. Simple cornmeal pancakes served with honey and butter. He liked them so much that he had them almost every morning for breakfast. This American Indian-inspired meal was one that early Americans ate on a regular basis. Imagine Washington at Mount Vernon starting the day with a plate of steaming syrupy hoe cakes and a piping mug of tea, preparing himself to head a brand new nation. Thomas Jefferson, mac and cheese. If you love mac and cheese, thank Thomas Jefferson. When Jefferson was in France, he fell in love with European cuisine, including pasta. So crazy about it that he imported a pasta machine back to the United States. Not only did he enjoy mac and cheese, he made it a White House staple. He treated guests to frequently baked macaroni topped with cheese sauce, cementing its place in American dining even deeper. Abraham Lincoln. Apples and bacon. Abraham Lincoln did not have a taste for fancy cuisine. He preferred plain food. He enjoyed a plain meal of apples, which he would typically have with bacon. This plain meal was really a reflection of his personality, practical, uncomplicated, and very American. He once called apples the best fruit on earth, and it was a staple in his diet. Visualize him at breakfast enjoying a plate of freshly cooked bacon and sliced apples, ready to take on the nation's most important problems. Theodore Roosevelt, steak and coffee. Teddy Roosevelt was bigger than life itself, and his appetite was big too. He loved steak, big, solid portions, normally well done. And he topped it off with coffee. Quantities of this stuff. He literally drank so much coffee that he gave it his own personal name and called it his liquid lightning. From hunting expeditions to the White House dinner table, Roosevelt needed energy, and his diet was exactly what gave it to him. His love of hearty, protein-laden foods justified his active and action-packed life. Franklin D. Roosevelt, grilled cheese and hot dogs. FDR was President of the United States during World War II and the Great Depression, years in which food had to be comforting, inexpensive, and uncomplicated. His favorite meal was a grilled cheese sandwich. He liked hot dogs too. He even invited the King and Queen of England to have hot dogs at the White House. These everyday foods helped make Roosevelt look like an everyday American. He recognized that in times of hardship, comfort food could be a morale booster, if only short-term. John F. Kennedy, New England clam chowder. Being a quintessential New Englander, JFK was a seafood lover, and New England clam chowder was his favorite dish. Having grown up in Massachusetts, he used to have fresh seafood, and this rich, creamy soup reminded him of home. Even at the White House, he would occasionally request clam chowder, relishing its comforting, familiar taste. The dish was so well liked that his default recipe was saved and passed along to White House personnel. Richard Nixon, cottage cheese with ketchup. And this one's going to shock you. Richard Nixon's favorite food was weird cottage cheese. But that is merely the unusual part. He'd serve it over top with ketchup. You heard that right. Cottage cheese with ketchup was his standard meal, either leftover from youth or acquired sometime after. It certainly ranked high as one of the more surprising foods for presidents to enjoy. It was perceived as healthy, he said, and kept him trim despite a grueling pace of life. Ronald Reagan, jelly beans. Reagan's jelly bean addiction is the stuff of legend. He first started eating them to aid him in quitting smoking, but eventually they were his go-to snack food. He had a jar on his desk at all times and even blasted jelly beans into space aboard NASA astronauts. His go-to? Black licorice. Reagan considered jelly beans the symbol of hope and optimism, and they were one small, but by no means unimportant piece of his presidency. Barack Obama, chili. Obama was particularly famous for his affection for homemade chili, which he began to make while in college. He enjoyed making it for his family, and he also had a secret spice mix that he added to it. His favorite dish was a reflection of how earthy he was. One minute he'd be making important political decisions, and the next he'd be in the kitchen stirring a pot of chili. His passion for cooking showed that even a president likes a good home-cooked meal every now and then. Donald Trump, fast food. Trump is famously a lover of fast food. He's been photographed with McDonald's, KFC, and even served fast food at White House gatherings. His excuse? He supports fast food outlets because they are reliable and, in his perception, clean. From Big Macs to buckets of fried chicken, his favorite comfort foods all came down to taste and ease. His indulgence in fast food made him relatable to many Americans with the same bad habits. Joe Biden, ice cream. Biden's fondness for ice cream is not a secret. It's been captured on video with him snacking on cones at campaign rallies and even going so far as to make a joke that it's his most heinous vice. His favorite flavor? Chocolate chip. Basking in victory or just needing a break, it's near certain that Biden will have an ice cream cone in his hand. His affection for ice cream has been solidified in the public eye, showing a lighter side of his personality. From hoe cakes to fast food, presidents' favorite foods tell us a great deal about them, not just about their personal tastes, but about the times in which they lived and about America too. Some preferred plain homey foods, while others preferred fancy food. Some had quirks, while others left a lasting impact on American food. So what about you? What's your go-to meal, and what do you think it says about you? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this journey through presidential plates, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fun and interesting stories.